Last night, Sister Wives was so frustrating because there was one person in the family named Christine Brown that knew, or Christine Brown Willie, who knew exactly what was happening as it related to their fight about money. And she pointed out exactly what happened. Okay. Christine said that the reason why everyone was fighting was because Kody would go to one wife and decide he was going to do something for everyone, and then make everyone else comply, and then tell everyone a different story. Suki tried to stop her. And the whole episode could have been so much easier if we just listened to Christine. That's how I felt. Why? Because I spent 40 minutes watching them talk about in circles this backdoor deal that literally never happened, that was made by Kody in order to pit women against each other, and he used it so seamlessly, and it was very clear to me what exactly he was doing. He's got everyone's button, and he knows exactly how to push the button. And all they are doing right now is fighting over money, but eventually, what they're fighting about is mortgage fraud. And I honest to God could not believe that this conversation was happening on a public platform because Kody is admitting on a public stage he could not afford his home. Okay. Earlier seasons. He stated it was all family money. Okay. That's how they qualified. It was all family money. They had a big pot. He said that's not how it worked out. They couldn't afford the hash knife home, they didn't have the money for it, and they had to borrow the money. Janelle and Meri have always said it was a loan. Robyn and Kody have rejected it and said it was family money. Now they're saying yes, it was a gift. Meri's still calling it a loan. Janelle is still calling it a loan. And Kody officially is calling it a gift. And then he's also seen at the same time saying he's going to pay them back. Which means it wasn't a gift. It was a loan. Which means he told his lender that the money from Janelle was a gift. And then he also told the lender that the money from Meri's wealth from his house, because he was on it, was his, and not a loan. It's called mortgage scam, y'all. And that's what I watched them all dance around like Kody's playing them all like a fiddle to cover up his felonies, supposedly. Let's kind of walk through some of these. What he's saying here is that he was given money, and Janelle has referred to it as a gift too. That means Janelle signed a gift letter to the lender, and she stated that the money that she was giving to him was a gift with no hope of repayment. There was no side loan, nothing. Janelle now says that it wasn't a gift, meaning she made false statements to the lender, meaning Kody made false statements to the lender because the gift letter has to be signed by the person that's giving the gift. Kody saying it was a gift because officially on the lender, according to the lender, it was a gift, but it wasn't. It was a loan. And now they're all fighting openly about this money while also admitting the documents they gave to a lender were false. Yeah. The money that they gave for Robyn's house, right? They wanted that money back. So, in the end, and I just wanted to show you that because Suki just literally skips over the fact that, wait a minute, you're supposed to be a writer, Suki. He's telling you that he had a gift for a debt and now they want the gift money back. Why aren't you asking them if that's officially allowed? And if you would do that, did they commit some sort of fraud? Why are they not going beyond the surface here? She did this throughout the rest of this episode as well. We haven't. But there's still discussion for it. And then after he admits and says that it was a gift, Robyn then says they already paid Janelle back. Like they said it's square with Janelle. So they're good with Janelle. I don't know what that even means. But according to Robyn, that's I paid Janelle back, even though Janelle signed a gift letter and said it was a gift, and now I've given her the money when it means it was really a loan. It doesn't matter if the lender didn't lose a dime. It doesn't matter if there was no financial loss to the broker, or even to the mortgage company or the service business. It doesn't matter. The fact that there was even a scam committed is all that matters. And if you understand that this fraud happened, the reason why they ended up selling that hash knife home at the same time as Coyote Pass is not because Kody and Robyn needed money. It's because Kody and Robyn needed to get away from the fraud that they did. And they still are talking about this fraud openly. They're saying they paid someone back on a gift, which is more mortgage fraud. It means that the money that they made in the equity on that sale, because their home doubled, they made that off other people's money. Other people invested in that home, and then they used the money from the equity in that investment to pay for a down payment on their new home. So they're like changing the money from one home to another to clean their hands of the mortgage fraud. But the fraud still happened. And I can't believe they're still talking about this on national news. He talked about a non-disclosure because it was like, let's not fight about finances publicly. This Meri didn't like the non-disclosure. He was scared that it was going to some sort of gag order on her. just regurgitates the lies that Kody tells her and says them as though they are facts, right? And Kody has likely lied to her and said that he is paying for Meri's costs, when we know that's not true. And Meri here is like, that never happened. He wasn't paying my homeowner's insurance. That's so stupid. But that's a way for him to say to Robyn that he's being moral and he's not ripping everyone off and he's entitled to this money. And it's also a way for Robyn to say, we are entitled to this money because even though he never lived there, and he didn't, and even though Meri paid for literally everything, we are still entitled to the money in this home. It's just a way for them to try to justify that they didn't take the money without cause, legally speaking, because she never removed Kody from the title. Legally speaking, yes, he could be entitled to 50% of the equity. And Meri isn't denying that even though he didn't live there, and even though he didn't pay anything because he was on the title, she was fine with that. But she was not fine with not getting the 50% back of hers that he used without paying back. And Kody just tells them all different stories, and because they're all being interviewed separately, they can't get the story straight. They should be all on one couch. Kody was going to give her this money if she would be silent. Not just silent about finances, but complete non-disparagement. This was never about the money. It is always about Kody not wanting anyone to expose anything that he's done. It's to cover up his crimes. It's so that nothing can be said about him that's negative. Robyn claims the legal endo was her idea. Kody claims it was her idea, his idea. Robyn says that she was stalling on signing so that she could play the martyr for Meri. Kody says that he told Robyn not to sign because he had already signed, and he knew that if he used Robyn as leverage not to sign, he could still push the enda. Kody and Robyn's stories are diametrically opposed, which tells me that Kody lied to Robyn, and Kody lied to Janelle, and Kody lied to Meri. And each one of them got a different story. Kody told Robyn that he was going to partner with Janelle, I think, because that gets her so angry, right? And then she's going to come in and be the martyr and save Meri, even though she's not saving Meri. And she's not saving anyone but herself, but still, Kody's the one that's dictating what Robyn's not doing, right? So, like if he can get her distracted by something that he claims is going to happen with Janelle, then she's not thinking about the other stuff that's going on. And if Janelle is being accused of being a backdoor backstabber, that's going to divide Meri and Janelle. And then if Janelle thinks it was Robyn's decision to have the enda, then that's going to make Janelle think that Robyn is the one at fault. And if Meri thinks that Robyn knew about the backdoor deal and didn't do anything to help her, then it's Robyn who deceived her, not Kody. And do you see how that worked? All of it is Kody triangulating them, telling them all different stories, and none of them communicate with one another, and they're all still like kind of brain scrambled by him. Janelle, we feel like we should do this backdoor deal. Janelle's giving me all this pressure. I'm like, I don't care what she's, 1 minute she's sitting there loyal to Meri and the next minute she's doing this. I'm like, I don't really care what you guys think you're doing. I don't care what you're frustrated and tired of this. We're going to do the games that he plays. She understands the narcissistic triangulation. She has been in therapy herself, and she recognizes that he plays games and spins stories to pit them all against each other. She has said that. That's what David even talks about is these guys literally do this stuff so that the women are all fighting with each other. And so they're not paying attention to what he's doing. So he finds the hot button for each one of them. For Robyn, it's, I'm the moral authority and I hate Janelle. And for Janelle, it's, Robyn is the scheming mastermind. And for Meri, it's, I don't know who to believe and Janelle and I don't get along. Though it's easy for him to triangulate based on their histories and planting lies about the other, and they're not talking to each other, and they're all assuming Kody's telling the truth, which is the first problem altogether, and Robyn is a willful Ein, she's willfully ignorant like this, is a choice. To be this ignorant, it's a choice to regurgitate what he says, because it benefits her. And then she gets so angry in this tell-all, and she's yelling almost at a point about Kody, and she doesn't agree with him, and that's not what she does. I mean, Robyn was angry. And where's that guy? 'Cause he's not here. When you get married to someone, the very first thing that you're thinking about is that if it doesn't work out, he's going to let you go and get a divorce. You're going to let me go. If this doesn't work out, you're going to let me go. That's the language I want you to think about. because she's acknowledging that under the rules of polygamy, she is not autonomous. She is considered his property, and you have to ask a man that if I want to go, you'll let me go. Why would she say that? Because in this cult, women who try to leave are stalked. They are guilted to stay. I have heard of women having GPS trackers placed on underneath their cars and followed. I have heard of threats and intimidation, and once a woman leaves, the guy comes and finds her and drags her back. Family members find them and drag them back because once she's committing to him legally as the wife, that is his property. And that's all people need to realize, is that he doesn't view these women as women. They're just his property. That's it. Because you don't go into a marriage and think, well, if it doesn't work out, I can leave. You have to let me leave. Of course, you can leave, Robyn. It's called divorce. And then she's acknowledging that he's acting like every other bad polygamist by not allowing the exes to leave and not giving them their fair share. Squandering the money, acting like it all belongs to him, ripping people off, using them for things, acting immorally, not letting them go. She's doing this to save herself for what he did and what they've done together. But they're both indirectly throwing each other under the bus, and they have completely separate stories. Normal people don't have to ask, let me go. It's because Kody still hasn't let some of these women go. And that's why the apology to her was to release them, because she refuses to accept that she has done anything to Meri that would make Meri not trust her, that would make Meri have feelings about her. That would make Meri think that she was a bad person. That would be valid reasons for why Meri can't have a relationship with her. She wants to pit this entire financial issue on Kody, and yet Robyn stands to benefit the most from his fraud. You can't simultaneously be advocating for someone while also benefiting from the fraud that your husband committed against that person. You cannot separate yourself from what your husband has done with her money to benefit you. She loves to deflect and say that that's between Kody and Meri, while also blatantly ignoring that Kody's choices directly gave her a mansion, a massive diamond ring, all kinds of jewelry, doll clothes, tons and tons of stuff, Rolex watches, Mercedes Benzes. She always wants to say it's Kody's fault, while simultaneously denying that she is part of the fraud. And by staying with him, her anger is to get mad at Meri for daring her for being mad that she's benefiting from the fraud. I have a very strict moral compass because I don't believe in this kind of crap. I believe it's wrong. But I didn't trust her enough to tell her what was going on. Why? Tizzy about a faux backdoor deal that absolutely never happened, and it didn't happen, and no backdoor deal occurred. But she's not in a tizzy about the fraud that occurred as it relates to the mortgage fraud that she and her husband committed, and the money that they owe them to this day still. I mean, Kody admits that Meri still hasn't gotten her money. And she is saying, I'm not like that, to say these are his crimes, not mine. Those are on him, not me. Well, lady, if you and your husband both sign the documents, and if you and your husband are both financially benefiting from it, you are just as much implicated in it as him, regardless of whose idea it is. And then, for her to say that she can't tell Meri about what's going on, first of all, it never happened. Why would she tell anyone? And also she claims she can't tell him because, or she can't tell Meri because then she would be disloyal to her husband. So you mean to tell me that you're cool with your husband committing crimes and you'll cover for him because you have to be loyal to him over all else? This is what she gets so mad about. This is what she flips out about. Like, you didn't do what was right, Robyn. I can't. I have to be loyal. Know why she's sitting there trashing me, and I don't even know what the problem is. Robyn, with a straight face, doesn't know why Meri doesn't like her. I don't know if somebody and their husband were defrauding you, stole all your money, led you on for 8 years, made you think there was a chance all because every single day that you stayed made more money available to you, got you a Rolex, got you a Mercedes, got you a mansion, got you wealth, got you influence, got you fame, and then when she has the audacity to point out what you've done, then it's being backstabbed. That is like the epitome of what actual gaslighting is. And Robyn's not mad at Kody. She's mad at Meri, and she can't tell Meri what's going to happen in the fake backdoor deal. Which, by the way, this whole thing just exposes that what they're really upset about is that all of this is public. And Robyn's having a freaking meltdown here because she's well aware that what they've done is committed a crime. And now it's like the two of them are just flailing out in the middle of nowhere. Like Robyn's blaming Kody, Kody's blaming Robyn, Kody's blaming Janelle, Kody's blaming Meri. And really, it's Kody and Robyn that committed the fraud. And it doesn't matter what Robyn says. She's married to him. She's not stopping it. And she still benefits from the money. She still allowed it to happen. And she knew better. She was in a monogamous marriage. She didn't have to get married to this man. Didn't have to be a plural wife. Didn't have to come into a life of crime. Expose her children to what should be a convicted felon and to a man that has no value for women. And Suki spent the entire hour going through these fake stories again and missing the whole point that Robyn and Kody are literally doing all of this to cover up their crimes. And that's my opinion. So, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, besties.